Hi, I'm Mike, and welcome to MBGO. Today, the weather in central Indiana looks like this. I think we're sitting on about 8 inches of snow, and rather than shovel the driveway, I'd rather play in the garage. So, let's explore installing Android Auto on our 2000 Honda Valkyrie. This is my 2000 Honda Valkyrie Interstate. I've had this bike for about 10 years and I've really enjoyed riding it. It's been reliable, it's fun to ride, it sounds great. As soon as the weather warms up, I'll do a video with the motorcycle and let you guys enjoy it with me. So why do I want to install Android Auto on my Valkyrie? Well, I like to listen to music and we use maps when we ride, and the interface on the phone is difficult to use sometimes with my left hand. I've also traditionally used this RAM mount to hold my phone. Works well enough, it's reasonably secure, but I have actually had a phone fall off of it. Didn't have the little ears, the little rubber ears connected, and it did pop out. Got run over by a car, so that was $1,000 down the tubes. Taking my phone off and putting it on whenever we ride is just, it's a complication I don't want to deal with anymore. The unit we're going to install today is this 5-inch Android Auto CarPlay unit by a company called YZW. I have no affiliation whatsoever with YZW, so my opinions about this device are going to be my own. I found this unit for about $50 on sale on Amazon. I checked today and you can still get it for around $50. It was a Christmas present from my wife. Before I politely suggested to her what I actually wanted for Christmas, I did look at some more expensive units that ranged in price from $100 to more than $300. They have pretty cool features, such as built-in navigation, which is helpful if you're going to be riding outside of cell service. You can load the maps and you don't have to worry about not having map access in remote areas. Some of them have built-in dash cams. There's even a few that have built-in radar units that allow you to have blind spot detection on your motorcycle. Thought that was kind of cool, but I didn't find that I really wanted it on my bike. I've used these types of off-brand devices before in my cars. I've got one on my Triumph, and I really like them. They work well. The other thing I liked about this particular one is that it includes built-in support for tire pressure monitoring systems. So when we do the install today, we're also going to install tire pressure monitor sensors. So let's take a quick look at unboxing this device. All right, let's unbox our YZW Intelligent Motorcycle Navigation System. As you can see from the box, this indicates that it supports CarPlay, Android Auto, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. It has a touchscreen and it is weatherproof. I am always reasonably impressed with the boxing quality of these rather inexpensive devices, but this is well packaged. Our device does come with a plastic screen protector. The ball mount is hard mounted onto the frame of the device. On our device, you can see that on one side we have a waterproof connector with what I'm assuming is an SD card slot. On the other side, we have another waterproof connector. It does not want to come loose, so I'm going to leave it alone, but you can see that they have hardwired the power connector rather than just providing a USB-C port, which would of course not be waterproof. Set that aside. Go into the rest of the box. In here, they've given us some electrical tape. The handlebar mount with a 1-inch ball style, adjustable ball style device. that includes some adapters for different sized handlebars and an Allen wrench and an Allen bolt, or the necessary Allen bolts. We have the power cord. I will say I'm not in love with the very thin gauge wire they've used here. I have used these before though, and they work well enough, but this is a little thin. They've also provided some zip ties to route the power cable and some instructions. In addition, I did also order from YZW a set of tire pressure gauges. This has integrated tire pressure monitoring, so we'll get into how to install that as well. Now, let's get started with the installation. When we do this, we're going to start with the wiring, then we're going to mount the device on the handlebars, then we're going to mount the tire pressure monitoring system, and show you how it all works. So here's how we're going to do this. I really hate splicing into the wiring of the motorcycle. I'm sure some people are comfortable with that. The only wiring problem I've had with that motorcycle in the 10 years I've owned it is due to a trailer hitch that the previous owner had wired in there. A wire was routed in a way that didn't work very well. It chafed and ended up causing some short circuiting. So I'd really like to avoid actually splicing into the wiring. So I am going to use one of these add-a-circuit jumpers that purchased on Amazon. It was $10 for a kit. It came with like 16 of these. And we're going to wire into a circuit that is connected to the accessory so that when I turn the motorcycle on, the Android Auto unit will get power. And when I turn it off, the device will shut off. So let's get started. So here we are at the workbench. I have the power cable that came with the Android Auto unit. You can see it doesn't use a traditional USB type connector. It has this waterproof connector, which makes a lot of sense. Now, the one thing I don't like about this device is the wires that run the power to it are really narrow gauge. So I am going to install a crimp-on connector to connect the ground, and the add-a-circuit device has a crimp-on connector that I'm not going to use because it is set up for a thicker gauge of wire. So what I'm going to do is actually splice the two wires together and install a solder joint so that I have a more secure connection. I just don't trust this thin gauge wire in this crimp-on connector. Okay, we are ready to wire. So we've added the connectors to the power cable that comes with the Android Auto device. I've already routed it. I didn't feel like trying to film myself routing the wire through under the frame, under the tank, and up to the handlebars. I did leave my slack. I've got about 12 inches of slack, and I'm going to leave that up towards the handlebars just in case I don't like the location. I won't have to mess with it. I can just loosen it up, and I can always bundle up that slack up there. Now, as far as where to connect it. Well, I've removed the side cover of the Valkyrie, and this is the fuse box. This is where I am going to connect my add-a-circuit. First thing I need to do is find a circuit that is hot when the ignition is on and not hot when the ignition is off. See there that circuit is dead. When I turn the ignition on, see there that we are getting voltage. In this case, 10.7 volts. The bike's been sitting a little bit, so it's a little down, but I'm sure it'll start just fine. Okay. So the add-a-circuit comes with two fuse positions, one for the original circuit and one for the new circuit. I've installed a 5 amp fuse in each. And now we simply install. I'm not all that comfortable with this fuse block cover not being able to close with the ATA circuit. I am going to have to figure that out at some point, a way to cover this up, but for now we're just going to leave it like that. Okay, so kit comes with 2 rubber adapters, and both are too thick for the mount on the handlebar. The handlebar is a little too thick, so you can't get these closed. I was able to fabricate my own adapter with some double-sided tape, and I'm satisfied with that. So now we will install the arm and install our device. Okay. A little off center, but I can live with that. Let's plug it up and see how it works. Power on. All right, we can see that it's not liking my tire pressures. And it's connected to Android Auto, and there we go. All right. Well, let's see what else we have. We do have a menu button here. I think that'll get us back to the home screen. That brings us back to the device. Select settings. Looks like we have fairly straightforward settings. Go back. We can control brightness. Ah, that's nice. That brings us back to our Android Auto map. We can power off here. There is no power switch on the device, but Android Auto seems to work fairly straightforward. These buttons over here are a little small. It'll be interesting to see how that works with gloved fingers. Navigate to Chicago.
All right, Chicago, let's go.
And there we go. So what do I think? Well, overall, I think I'm going to be pretty happy with it. I've used these types of devices before. I have one in my car. I have one on my Triumph, and they just work. Most of the work is done by the phone. All it really is a display. This particular one has the tire pressure monitoring, which I really like. That's a nice feature. It's one less doodad to connect to the bike. It's a little on the small side. I have a 7-inch device on my Triumph, and that seems to work a little better, but we'll see how this one is when I finally get out to ride it here in a few weeks. The installation was pretty easy. I would rate this a 2 out of 10. Doesn't really require any special tools. You do need to splice in some wiring, but that's pretty straightforward. Mounting the device on the handlebars, also really straightforward. Just screw it on, put it where you want it, and you should be in good shape. So, would I recommend this? I think so. Like I said, I've used these devices before. They work pretty well. This one was very cost effective. I think that if you want Android Auto or Apple CarPlay on your bike, this is a great way to go. So, thank you very much. If you found this video useful, please feel free to subscribe, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great day.